Today, we are going to look at the OSI model, and I will walk you through all the service layers of the OSI model. Now, we have started this already and we will continue. When we talk about the OSI model, we are saying that it is the Open System Interconnection Model, and it is a conceptual framework created by international organizations for standardization that describes how different communication systems should exchange information over a network. Now, its primary purpose is to provide a universal standard or language for networking, enabling diverse hardware and software from different vendors to communicate using standard protocols. Now, what this means is that, let's take Ghana for instance. Say, Ghana, when you go to parts of Ghana be any kasa omoka. Nti sɛ wokɔ Nkran anaa wokɔ Accra or kasa omoka ebi wo Cape Coast wonte ase. Saa na wokɔ Northern region, Volta region, they all have language that they speak that some other parts of Ghana doesn't understand. Now, looking at the introduction of English, we have gotten a common language that everyone will understand. So even if you go to Volta region and you don't understand their language, they can speak English and they will understand. Some of them will understand and reply you. So that's all about Cape Coast. If you are a Voltarian now, when you come to Cape Coast and you don't understand the Panti, you can also speak English, and whoever understands the English will also be able to reply you. So you can see that English has become a standardized language globally that everyone can understand it. That is what OSI model intends to do. So their primary purpose is to provide a universal standard or language for networking. They want a networking language to be a universal. That when you get any other hardware or devices, they can follow the same protocol or the same standard when setting them up. So that is the purpose of the OSI model, to make a universal language for networking, to enable all kinds of hardware that you bring in a network to also fit in. So when you bring, let's say, any laptop or any computer, and you want to add that laptop to a network, because of the OSI model, the network part or the hardware component of the computer will be able to fit in that networking that you've done. So when you come to the school, for instance, we have the software for writing the online test. Now, if you bring your mobile phone and we connect to the network there, your mobile phone should be able to access the assessment software or the classes software because of this standardization, because of the open system interconnection that we have. Your mobile phone should be able to communicate freely without any barrier. That is the universality that we are talking about here. So when any other device that can communicate with the network is brought, we can connect it to our network, and that device can also communicate within the network. So the OSI model, the main purpose is to provide a universal standard or language for networking to enable all hardware and software from different vendors or different companies to communicate using what we call a standard protocol. So we have a standard protocol. So as I use the language, for instance, in Ghana, we can see that the standard or in the whole world, the standard language or the standard protocol that we use is the English. That is when we come to the language aspects. For Ghana here, you can see the kasa oka ibia wo Ghana bibia betimi ate ase ebrofo. As I'm speaking the Fanti now, it's not everyone who understands it, but as I'm using this English, I think everyone understands it. That is the universal we are talking about here. Although the modern internet is based on simpler TCP IP model, still the OSI model remains widely used for teaching, as I'm doing, designing and troubleshooting network communication by breaking down complex process into 7 distinct manageable layers. So that is that. Now, these layers are, the 7 layers are, we start from the down to the top. I will explain to you why so. Now we have the physical layer, which defines electrical and physical specification for a device and media. So with the physical layer, we talk about the cables, we talk about the hubs, we talk about the repeaters. Then we come to the data link layer. Listen to the name. This is physical. So these are the physical devices. So that is the layers that we have, the physical devices that we have here. And when we talk about data link, data and link, now this provides node to node. That is the data. That is the data we are talking about. The link that we are talking about here. That provides node to node data transfer, error detection, and physical addressing. So we can talk about devices like Ethernet, Wi-Fi, switches, etc. I will also come to that again. Then we also have the network layer, which handles logical addressing, that is the IP, then also routing data packets across different networks. We also have the transport. Listen to the name, transport. The transport layer provides a reliable and or unreliable end-to-end data delivery. Provide reliable or unreliable end-to-end data delivery and flow control. Then we also have the session layer. Now the session layer establishes, manages, and terminates connection between applications. Then we have the presentation layer, which translates, encrypts, and compresses data for the application layer. And the final layer is the application layer, which provides interface for end user application to access the network services. So these are the 7 distinct layers that we have. So I will walk you through some simulation and we look at how they operate properly. So let's look at this. Assuming this is your email application. So you are the sender here, and this is someone also, the one you are sending the message to. So assuming this is your computer or this is your mobile phone, you want to send a message from your phone or from your computer to another computer on the same network. So you type your message, "Hi, how are you?" Now you send the message. Let's send the message and see what happens. When you send the message, you can see that the application layer, that is where you sent your message. That's "hi." Then, so the application layer formats and prepares the message for transmission. Okay. Now when you typed "hi," the application layer has formatted everything and sent the "hi" or your message to the presentation layer. The presentation layer is going to encrypt end to end, then send it to so that the recipient can also get it. Let me start again. This is the message that we want to send. I'll send the message. Now the application layer is preparing the message for transmission. So after it has prepared the message, it will send it to the presentation layer. Alright, so the message app formats and prepares the message for transmission. Alright, after doing it, it brings to layer 6, which is the presentation layer, which encrypts and or encode the message. So you can see the message is encrypted with end-to-end encryption, so only the recipient can read it. So after the message has been encrypted, you can see your hi, how are you doing, is what has been encrypted to this. Now, the session layer, it is also opening a conversation path so that there will be a connection between this sender and this sender. So the section layer is done. Let me go back again. It is preparing the message. Let's wait. When after preparing the message, it will bring it to the presentation layer to do the encryption and also compression. Okay, the message is being encrypted, so only the recipient can read it. So it is encrypting this, hey, how are you? So that nobody can read it, only the recipient can read it. Okay, so the message has been encrypted. So this is the hey, how are you? That has been encrypted to this. Now, section control is also opening a section or a path that there will be communication between this, the first device and the second device. So after opening the session, it will send it to the transport layer. So let's look at it from this angle. When you are sending a message, you first prepare the message, and when you prepare the message, you put it in an envelope, assuming you want to send a letter to somebody. So you write a letter, you do everything on it. Now you put the letter in an envelope. So when you put the letter in an envelope, you can see that assuming you use official sheet or official paper, you see that the paper is too big or too long. So assuming you use 3 of those sheets, now this is your envelope. You are going to fold the papers. Assuming it's 3 papers, you are going to fold them and compress them and put them inside this envelope. That is what the presentation layer do. It makes sure that it compresses all the data, encrypts it before it will open a communication. So if it's an envelope, you see that those 3 sheets will all be in one envelope or in the same envelope. Even if you use separate envelope, you see that nobody will see what is inside the envelope. That is what we call the encryption. And also, you have compressed it. Instead of uber sheet it's one of sheeting and as well sheeting on ketwa in order as envelope. This is what the application this is what the presentation layer does. So your hello hi, it is going to encrypt it and decrypt it so that a bear ketwa for easy transportation. Now when we come to the session layer will establish the connection path. Oh, okay, message coin. Fine. So message will say then let's open a communication channel between the devices now we're communicating. If this layer doesn't open a connection for this one, there's no way this device can receive the data. So this one, after encrypting everything, putting the letter and everything in the envelope, this layer, that is the layer 5, we'll just take it and okay, this message is going to this place. Okay, then let me establish connection between them. In the event of what letter now they come over, beat me a friend in can so okay, but your mature letter me de brew, so maybe expect the letter. So we be quiet. So whoever is there is now friend, our friend is okay, a letter will be coming. Now we have established connection between who our actual letter and it will be a or baby receiving letter. That is for the session layer. Now the transport data layer. What you letter area there? Now I establish what catch it so okay, the letter is coming. Then that is the transport layer. The transport layer is going to send the letter to maybe I will establish a connection. So let's continue and see how it does. So our first, as usual, application layer, it can be your WhatsApp, it can be email, it can be any app that you type, hi, how are you doing? Okay. Now, what prepare message in every or the abaha, this is where they share encrypted, and I say, pop letters, man, I kitwa, neither I say envelopes. Now, you be so I okay. Now the letter has been folded and it is in the envelope, so you not see what is on it on the letter. So you see only the blank envelope like this because it has been encrypted, so you don't know what is in it. Now we are opening connection between this device and this device. Okay. Now we are established section and I see any panaka say letter never. So the transport is splitting the letters on also transport layer no and no job and say okay, go back. The transport layer and job and say okay, letter way quiet means mom say letter and wherever each letter is going. If you letter no enye pakona or de corner say enye nipa bakuni letter. And I say nipa bakuni letter but still also address of the person any baby and impanisa kano. So the transport layer will look for which device is responsible for receiving this one. Now, or the stamp now, is so no about address, everything. They go say, okay, yeah, they call the end yet. Let us team. We and I say, put the same person. Let's put information on it. Let's stamp it. Let's add, let's say IDs or whatever to it. So that, you say, okay, we did Hana Echo. So that is the transport layer. That's what the transport layer does. Okay, so let's go back again. So still preparing the message. Hi, now sending it is preparing it. Okay, now we'll prepare letter name. So yeah, the letter head will be account. All right. Now it is folding the letters and putting them in envelope for transportation. All right. So we holding now compress we now assuming let's say we want to establish connection between the device that we are sending that message to. Okay, so it has opened a connection. Assuming say our friend in so okay, I have your letters and we'll be bringing it at this time, whatever. Yes. Now the transport layer also is a message is split into segments with port numbers. So your messages okay, yeah, the stamps in adding SSS. Now the transport. Now this is the network layer. This is the network layer. Now source and the destination IP addresses are added. Okay. Until with the network layer no, the one na the route you bet was okay. Later no ya for transport no. Yeah, the baby car no. So yeah, fine. Indeed, it is the network layer which will tell you so okay. Later no, ye fa assuming ye free Accra na yeba esikuma. Okay, ene ye fa Accra na yen kofa uniba. Na yen fa swedro. Na yen kofa penisen. Yen kofa odoben na yen bra esikuma. So it is going to decide it. And I say, okay, ene yen kofa ye free Accra dia yen bra mankesim. Lembefa ejuma nembra yemfambra is common. So it is the network layer which will tell you say okay the fastest route are you bit me yafa. So obeshe we be a new location, new address, everything or the need na beka envelope no Now what check quine like the best part I am for so. Na yam for let an come and deliver my mirror and as if I'm the person. So that is how the network layer also operates. So they are going to, it is going to add the IP address of the recipient and also will determine the best path. And when I short, the shortest path, if it's me the letters in the fashion the apple. So that is that. So let's go back on it again. Alright, so this is what is happening. Source and destination IP addresses are added to route across the internet. So yeah, sure, it has added ports. So if in your mind, okay, it has added IP address and it has added the destination, also added ports. So in your mind, you still say, the same letter also, and yeah, so let's look at the data link layer. What happens at the data link layer? Let's look at that. Okay, now that we have seen the part, now we have the data link layer. Now data link layer no let's say a kwanya ye personal it is the physical road. The data link layer will be the physical road. A kwanya is and that one connecting Accra to Esukuma. That is our data link layer. And it's a kwanya anywhere. We can't, there's no way we can transport the message or we can send the message. So a quina the physical link, and it also establishes connection between where is it? Okay. Now it provides node to node data transfer, error detection, and physical addressing like MAC address. So the data link layer becomes the railroad. A kwina kasana yedi adiani personal. That's the data link layer. So it has to make sure say a kwino so smooth so that we will not encounter a nyamana woman and say and I say anyway and who ain't touch me. If say on the way, if anything happens to any of the data, this person or this layer has to make sure say it has corrected it. So that is why we say that it provides node-to-node data transfer, error detection, and also physical addressing. So this one has to make sure that everything goes smoothly and the data should be delivered to the user peacefully. That is the function of the data link layer. Alright, so let's see again. When everything is added, the root best path is determined. Data package into Wi-Fi frames with MAC addresses and error detection. That is what is happening here. Okay, now we are done with the process. So this is the final process. This is the final process from Nimpano or sending the end. Now after all this is done, after all this process, now there should be the physical layer. This is when your mobile phone or your device will check that do I have internet connection? Sorry, let me restart. This is where this one will check. Do I have internet connection? Do I have physical connection between these two devices. So this is where there will be a physical connection between this and this. So you can use a Wi-Fi to receive signal so that your data will be converted into zeros and ones. So with this side, it now take the data, everything, and convert it into zeros and ones that this device here will understand it before it's transported. So the physical layer defines the electrical and the physical specification for the device and media. For the devices and media, so cables, signals, whatever, for transmitting raw bits of data. So here you can use cables, bulbs. You can also talk about Wi-Fi. You can connect Wi-Fi so that your data can be converted into bits so that it will be sent to the other recipients. So let's look at the final stage of it. Okay, now the digital data is converted to radio waves or into bits, zeros and ones. After that, in the way this phone, we really did. Now this is the message. Now the message gets to the second phone. So you can see that the second phone must have a data or a signal to receive it. So after receiving it, now let another be the recipient. It has to go through the process from down to the top. Now it has converted the data from zeros and ones. Now we're converting. It has essentially converting back to this information here that you see it. Now the data link also is doing what, checking for errors and everything, making sure that there is no error in the data. Now the networking layer that is verified, say if the IP address, the message, everything belongs to this device before. Now it brings it back to the transport section. This checks for errors and reassemble in order and delivery confirmed. Okay. Right. The session ID is verified to ensure this message belongs to the correct conversation. So you can see that it is removing them one by one. Okay. Now, after checking everything, this person will just remove the letter from the envelope. This section will remove the letter from the envelope, the code, everything, formatting. It will de-encrypt everything. It will be letter-free envelope we are now. The person will be able to see the message again as you are seeing. Hey, how are you? Now the app will receive the data and display its beauty in the chat interface. So this is how the process works. So the message traveled from here, then it reaches here peacefully. So when you are sending a message, that is what it goes through, but you don't see it. You can see that if you send hi, the person will receive it. Receive hi. Yeah. It has to go through all this process before the person will be able to see it. Now your message that will be very successful. So when you talk about the summary, let's look at the summary. Now you can see the message travels down through layer 7 to layer 1. Okay. Yeah, that is what it does. The message will travel from layer 7. You sending the message because you are using the application. Assume you are using WhatsApp, you are using Telegram, you are using email. When you send the message, you are at the application level. Into one application, one WhatsApp application we use. When you type hi, this is the level. When you send it, the rest you don't see it. The application will do all this and send about do the physical place now or convert your data into bits, zeros and ones, then before it will send it over the internet, then your the internet will also do this process to make sure that it delivers the message to your application. Now then you're going to see hi there. So the network transmits through Wi-Fi or cellular network. Then the receiver receives the message. If we from level 7 basic level 1, you're going to receive it. Then if you 1 to 7, ever start if I see a layer 1 up to layer 7. So the sender moves from layer 7 to layer 1, and the receiver moves from layer 1 to layer 7, as we saw it in the simulation. So each layer adds or removes specific header. Now layer 6 encrypts and decrypts. So layer 6 in the share envelope, the representation layer the share envelope, but every do hand so only free envelope. So that is the encrypt and decrypt, compress and decompress. Alright. Now layer 1 converts to and from radio signals. This one, the layer 1 is converted from 0 to 1. Now submitted by way. The by way, then it's reverted back to the real encrypted data. Alright, so in all, the data moved through total of 14 layers before Ansana the person got the message. So the message now is sending from this phone. It travels along 7 layers before the person was able to see the message. That is it. Now when the message reaches here, a bit me aka through the 7 models, a bit me aka. Only if you don't have connection, internet connection, or there is no connection between this device and this device, a bit me share message, but say record the anchor. So that is why when you send WhatsApp message and if you don't have data, it doesn't mean it has not traveled through all this. A bit travel through all this, a bit do have a because you don't have data or you don't have any physical connection between the two devices, so it will be here, it will stand here. So the moment you get data, now it will move from here, then it will come here. Then this one will check everything, remove all those encryptions and other headers before the application. This one, the application will see the information. So that is the OSI module for you. Maybe along the way, I will bring another video explaining things more better and clearer. Thank you.